Hello everyone, welcome to Karma Education. This is the channel for UGC NET Education subject paper 2 only. It will be also helpful for the education students who are obtaining the courses like B.Ed, BSc B.Ed, M.A in Education, M.Ed, SET PATE exam on education. Here we are discussing each topic of UGC NET Education syllabus. We have completed entire Unit 2 and also completed subunit 1 of Unit 1. From today, we are starting to discuss subunit 2 of Unit 1, that is contribution of Western schools of thoughts. In this video, we will discuss idealism. Okay, others baad. We will discuss idealism. This video is going to cover introduction to idealism, types of idealism, forms of idealism, exponents of idealism, metaphysics, epistemology, axiology of idealism, principles of idealism, idealism and aim of education, idealism and curriculum, idealism and teaching method, idealism and teacher, pupil, discipline, school, and limitation of idealism. And at the end of the video, I will discuss summary of idealism. Let's start. Introduction to idealism. The name arose from idea and ism. Idealism. So, idea is the origin of the word idealism. According to philosopher Plato, ideas are real. They believe in ideas, not in material world. This is the oldest philosophy. Idealism gives much emphasis on ideas, feelings, and ideals than material things. The world is nothing but only ideas, according to idealism. Idealism says existence of material world depends on our mind. They don't have their independent existence. For example, there is no existence of an empty classroom because no one is there. No one is perceiving the existence of an empty classroom. You will say there is CCTV camera, which is proving the existence of that classroom. But still, there should be one to watch the CCTV camera to perceive the knowledge of existence of the empty classroom. So, without subject means human being or perceiver who will get the knowledge about things, there is nothing in the world according to idealism. So, everything depends upon on our mind. Knowledge can be obtained only through intuition, not by sense. They accept existence of God and believe in spirituality. Types of idealism. I will discuss the types of idealism, that is subjective idealism and objective idealism, by comparing themselves. Subjective idealism. The exponent of subjective idealism was George Berkeley, whereas the exponent of objective idealism was Hegel. Subjective idealism says human mind or subject mind is only the ultimate reality, whereas objective idealism claims God or the absolute mind is the ultimate reality. According to subjective idealism, the world is only the idea of subject or human being, whereas objective idealism says the world is not the idea of subject or human being but of the absolute mind or God. According to subjective idealism, the world exists only in the mind of the subject or perceiver, whereas objective idealism says the existence of object is just a reflection of God's perception. Subject's mind is finite or limited. Subjective idealism says the world with all its objects are only the ideas of subject's mind or ideas of the perceiver's mind, whereas objective idealism says absolute ideas are only reality in this world. God is ultimate reality. There are three forms of idealism. First one is Platonic idealism, then religious idealism and modern idealism. Platonic idealism, it was obviously advocated by Greek philosopher Plato. According to him, truth is perfect and eternal. He said people should concern themselves primarily with the search for truth. He suggested dialectic method to make people more concerned about the world of ideas rather than the material world. According to him, there are two worlds. One is world of ideas, which is eternal, and another one is world of matter, which is radical or ever changing. People do not create knowledge, rather discover it. Religious idealism. Augustine was exponent of religious idealism. According to him, there are two kinds of world. One is world of God or spirit, and another one is world of man, which is material world of darkness, where God was given priority. God already created knowledge and people can discover it through trying to find God. Next one is modern idealism, which was advocated by Immanuel Kant. He wrote Critique of Pure Reason, which is very important for your MCQ. By contrast, he said idealism does not concern about the existence of things, but asserts only our mode of representation of them. How we represent the things, that is more important. Above all, space and time. This position is also called transcendental idealism. George Berkeley, Hegel, Descartes were also the supporters of modern idealism. These are some important Western exponents of idealism. Socrates, Plato. Plato was the student of Socrates and father of idealism. Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz, Berkeley, Immanuel Kant, Hegel, Froebel. And also I have added this teaching method because to remember, it will be easier to remember the name of these exponents of idealism as well as their prescribed teaching method. And these are some important Indian supporters of idealism: Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekanand, M.K. Gandhi, Aurobindo Ghosh, and Radhakrishnan. Metaphysics of idealism. Metaphysics deals with reality. According to idealism, idea is only real rather than material things. The world of idea is static and absolute. So the ultimate reality is ideas or mind or self. The self is the primary reality of individual experience. Epistemology of idealism. Epistemology deals with knowledge. Idealism says that the ultimate knowledge is spiritual knowledge. People do not create knowledge, rather discover it by self-examination. Knowledge is already created by God. People receive knowledge in the form of ideas, which are permanent or unchangeable. Axiology of idealism. Axiology deals with values, human values. Self-realization is the ultimate aim of human being according to idealism. For self-realization, idealism talks about three eternal values. These are truth, beauty, and goodness, which are essential for self-realization. Idealists advocated self-control and discipline to know oneself better. Now, fundamental principles of idealism. Monistic concept. Monistic concept means everything is derived from the one. As they believe, God is the creator of the universe. That's why it is monastic concept. So, to achieve God, spiritualism is essential according to idealist. Next is spiritual world. They accept the spiritual world, not material world. Spiritual world is real and ultimate truth, whereas the material world is mortal and transitory. In terms of ideas, they accept the mind or ideas as ultimate reality than material object, as they believe knowledge can be obtained by ideas, not by object. And in terms of values, values are unchangeable, absolute, and most importantly, predetermined. They give emphasis on spiritual values, and for that reason, according to them, self-realization should be the aim of life. Spiritual values includes truth, beauty, and goodness. That is the most important thing in idealism. Knowledge. God is the source of all knowledge. Human being as subject just gets the reflection of idea of things from God. Then only we can prove the existence of things. So the source of knowledge is God. Importance of man over nature. Man gets more importance than nature in idealism, as man creates his own virtue. Idealism and aim of education. Highest aim of education should be to make student capable to search for truth, that is spiritual development, realization of truth, beauty, and goodness. Philosophical wisdom or concept of true idea should be the highest aim. Ultimate aim of education should be self-realization, To know about individual mind and self is ultimate aim of education. Proper aim of education should be character development of students. For thoughtful action of human being, it is necessary. Moral and intellectual training is important to build rationality. Next is conservation, promotion and transmission of cultural heritage. It is another important aim of education. Preparation for whole life. Education will help a learner how to live an ideal life. So these are some important aim of education according to idealism. Idealism and curriculum. To develop thinking ability of learner. According to idealist, human being can become more noble and rational if they have thinking ability. So curriculum should be like that. Idealist accepts three values: truth, beauty and goodness. So curriculum subjects will be based on these three values, which will help to develop intellectuality, morality and aesthetic values among students. Humanistic subjects like religious studies, spiritual studies, literature, arts are emphasized than physical and biological science. To develop moral education means duties to self in terms of physical fitness, self-culture, etc., as well as duties to others means generosity, cooperation, etc., also has importance in idealist curriculum. Idealism and teaching method. According to idealist, they are the creator of all teaching methods. So they do not follow any particular teaching method to teach students. Methods which encourage reasoning that involves intuitive and reflective thinking gets priority in idealism. Their prescribed teaching methods are question answer method, which is also known as Socratic method, informal dialectic method, which was advocated by Plato, Froebel's playway method, lecture, debate and discussion method of Socrates, logical method of Hegel and instruction method of Harvard. Idealism and teacher. An idealist teacher is one who has attained self-realization, has essential qualities of spiritualism. His personality is to be the source of inspiration for his pupil. Teacher plays a role of a gardener who tries to shape the individuality of little child in a perfect manner. Along with subject knowledge, teachers should have the quality to be a role model and guide of learner. Has to be flexible to accept the ideas of his students. Also has the quality to encourage pupils to generate their own views and develop desire to work hard. Right. Teacher must play a role as friend, philosopher and guide of students. Teacher guides the child for their full mental and spiritual development. So these will be the character or qualities of teacher according to idealism. Idealism and pupil. Idealists treat child as a self, a spiritual being. They believe that pupil is a social being. Child cannot be good or bad by nature, but he has the potentiality to be good or bad, which depends on education and environment. The unique thinking of idealism is that the teacher and students both are equal in terms of spiritualism because goal of their life are same, that is self-realization. Because of age, teacher is just ahead than student towards the goal and teacher just shows the path to learner. Idealism and discipline. Idealist believes in qualified freedom. Now what is qualified freedom? Qualified freedom includes any type of activity or responsibility. They recommend self-discipline for self-realization. Rather than external control over pupil like praise or punishment, internal control of behavior is much helpful for self-realization according to idealism. As one of the aim of idealism is to be an ideal person, for that participation in social service activities helps a lot to develop spirit of sacrifice. In that case, teacher will give the guidance to pupil. Idealism and school. To increase the capacity of logical thinking, reasoning among pupils, school is the best place. School generates the ideal environment to gain spiritual ideals and values. To test implement and restructure the ideas, school is necessary. School helps to maintain the idealist's prescribed discipline. Limitations of idealism. In the world, there is no such concept which is beyond limitation. Every concept has some shortcomings because time and our need both are not fixed. So, now we will discuss some limitations of idealism. They promote high cognitive level of education but pay less attention in the highly technologically developed environment of the present day. Ultimate end of life is aim of idealism, whereas they neglect day-to-day real problems of our life. Education should make individual to capable to solve our daily life problems, right? The concept of soul, spirit, mind, etc., these have very little relevance in today's classroom teaching. They are concerned about to give safeguard and promote only cultural learning. They give more emphasis on teacher rather students in the whole education system, where modern psychology give emphasis on importance of child. Idealists are inclined towards cramming and imitation learning, but today's generation prefers invention and originality. So these are some important limitations of idealism. Let's recapitulate the whole concept of idealism within a single chart. Exponents, Western exponents of idealism: Socrates, Plato, Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz, Kant, Hegel, Berkeley, Froebel, and Indian exponents were M.K. Gandhi, Aurobindo Ghosh, Dayanand Saraswati, Vivekanand, Rabindranath Tagore. In terms of principles of idealism, they believe in God, accept spiritual world, ideas are ultimate reality, spiritual values are supreme and universal, God is the source of all knowledge. In terms of aim of education, according to idealism, spiritual realization of truth, beauty and goodness, self-realization, character development, and conserve, promote and transmit our cultural heritage. Curriculum: develop thinking ability. Curriculum should be based on spiritual values like truth, beauty and goodness. Humanistic subjects gets emphasis. Teaching method: think themselves as creator of teaching method. Idealist, they think themselves as creator of teaching all the teaching method. Question answer method, dialectic, playway, lecture, logical, instruction methods they prefer. Teacher gets supreme and important place in the whole education system. They act like friend, philosopher and guide of students, act as gardener to care child like a plant. In terms of pupil, they treat pupil treats as spiritual being, have potentiality to be good or bad, need environment and guidance of teacher. And in terms of discipline, they believe in qualified freedom, recommend self-discipline and participation in social activities and take responsibility. So this is the just summary of idealism. I think this video will be helpful for your UGC exam as well as all education students. In the next video, I will discuss naturalism. Keep watching Karma Education.